What's going on, everybody? I'm Metal Nick,
I'm Jeff Grindstoffer.
and welcome to episode number 25 of Vinyl Bang. Jeff, do you want to introduce today's guest?
Today, our very special guest for episode 25 is J.R. Hayes. Look at that, J.R. All right.
Episode 25, huh? Nice.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a milestone. 25 episodes.
Is that like the silver anniversary? What is that one?
This is the episode where we're starting to get our shit together, where we're starting to act like we know what we're doing. So it is just fitting that the creator of the brainchild behind this whole thing, J.R. Hayes, is our guest on this show. So this worked out well. JR, for those of you at home, JR is of course the vocalist for Pig Destroyer. That's where a lot of people know you from. Virginia Creep for the underground, fans that know you from Virginia Creep. Also the frontman for Enemy Soil. And a lot of people know your work from Agoraphobic Nosebleeds, The Poacher Diaries, split with Converge.
Yes.
All awesome projects, and huge fan of those. But yeah. J.R. Hayes, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
So for today's show, we're going to do a little something different. Instead of talking about vinyl, JR chose to talk about CDs. JR, do you want to explain to everybody why we're doing CDs instead of vinyl?
Well, because I don't really have any vinyl anymore. I've either given away my vinyl or sold it. Never been much of a vinyl person. Usually the only vinyl that I would have is my own band stuff or things that I couldn't get on any other format, like obscure 7 inches and things like that were never digitized. But I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, and when I was a kid, I listened to cassettes. And it was kind of that time period where vinyl was kind of out of favor. A lot of people weren't pressing it, you know what I mean? And there were still underground bands pressing it, obviously, but it wasn't really it was a CD world back then, you know what I mean? And so I kind of went from cassettes to CDs, and I've never, I have no sentimental attachment to vinyl, I guess you would say. And I'm not an audiophile by any stretch of the imagination. Like I feel like good music always sounds good. You know what I mean? So
true.
That somebody's got to be the lowly CD guy, right?
Very true. That's a good way to look at that.
And we can't all be fucking hip vinyl guys. You know what I'm saying?
No. Okay, we can't all be Nick Martins of the world. And just to go ahead and get this out of the way now for future Pig Destroyer releases, I call dibs on test presses. If JR's not going to
collect
I don't usually get the test presses. Sometimes I get the clears.
We can, make some calls. Get Scott Hall on the phone. Who?
Hey, that's between you and the Hull Hammer, man.
There you go.
All right.
Well, JR, do you want to kick things off with the CD store conversations here?
Sure. So I've always been kind of a guy who, I've never been focused on pressings or packaging as much. Like I'm just trying to get the music. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I like about CDs is, you can collect a lot of things onto it, bonus tracks and yada, yada, yada. But this is an interesting piece by DJ Shadow and Cut Chemist, who is the DJ for Jurassic 5, I believe. So it's these two DJs, and they're spinning 45s together live, and it's all like really unique, like I guess you would say like novelty 7 inches, like like 7-Eleven made a 7-inch, and they spin that, you know what I mean? And there's like all these weird, obscure movie trailers and stuff. So it's like and they're just dropping things on you like one after the other, It's pretty neat. It's been out. This is the only pressing of the original, because when the sampling laws changed, they wouldn't have been able to repress this record because it would have been, I'm sure, extortionately expensive.
Sure.
To secure the rights to everything that they do. It's been bootlegged several times, including onto vinyl eventually. But yeah, they did this one, and then there's another one that they did kind of right after this one called Product Placement. That's kind of the same vibe, like almost like a part 1 and part 2. But if you like DJ stuff, this is the jam.
Huh.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Please
Very
tell
cool.
me that bootleg 7 inches on a 45.
No, it's a full album. I think it's a double LP actually.
Okay.
Because it's like a whole, it's probably like a 60-minute session of them just going back and forth with each other,
Right.
with beats and like scratches, and and it's all live. It's pretty awesome.
Neat.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's great. All right, Jeff.
All right. Well, my first contribution is nowhere near as underground as that, but this album does mean a lot to me. I'm going to start off with 1992's 9 Inch Nails' Broken. This is the original pressing from 1992 that came with a bonus 3-inch disc that contains the tracks Physical and Suck.
Yeah.
Tracks 98 and 99 on this. Of course, this album was later repressed where it had all of the albums on the same disc. It just had
that's the one I had. I didn't know they did like a mini disc version.
Yeah. This is the original.
Those little guys have destroyed a lot of CD players over the years.
I'm sure. I don't think I've ever listened.
A lot of front-loading CD players got eaten alive by those guys.
I don't doubt that a bit. Very, but the packaging on this thing is incredible. I've always loved the fold out where it's got the disc in the middle. The disc is the eye. Love this album, this EP by itself to begin with. It was such a follow up to this followed Pretty Hate Machine, right?
Yeah. It was in between Pretty Hate Machine and
Downward Spiral.
I think it's the best thing that they did, honestly.
Agreed. Yeah,
it's a perfect combination of metal and punk and industrial, and
yes, I love it.
And he was obviously like out of his mind, like in those early albums,
Definitely.
Yeah, very creative individual for sure. While he was still on drugs. I mean, I like Trent Reznor post drugs, but whenever he was a kid, in his 20s, like that was the time to get into 9 Inch Nails, and I did.
Well, some guys don't get a post drug career, so
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very fortunate to have a way more successful career post drugs.
I mean, does anybody prefer post drugs Dave Mustaine? Like, do those people exist? You know what I mean?
No.
Right.
If they do, I don't want to know them.
All
right. Moving on
here. I got something that's a little more recent that just came out recently. That was put out by our friend Mr. J.R. Hayes here. It's a local band from Virginia, Abominog, Chaos Unleashed. I believe this was a 1998 release, originally released.
1995.
1995 originally released. This was a very hard thing to find. I know there's a guy in Malaysia on Discogs selling this for very pricey amount, but this got remastered and re-released
and remixed.
I
think it was remixed as well by Mike Bozier.
Oh wow. Yeah, for those who don't know, Abominog is one of the original death metal bands from Virginia. Them, Deceased, who else? Morbius. There's quite a few of them they came from the Northern Virginia area, and there was a scene in Maryland and DC. I guess Sadistic Torment and Dying Fetus were part of it, but Bomanog was in those early days. They've reunited in the last couple of years. They're about to do a run with Deceased, which Chris and King Valley are like best friends, and so this is a great. This sounds great. I remember he was really excited to finally get it when I got it. He gave it to me a couple of weeks ago, and I drove home and listened to it. And I was like, "Wow, just the version that I've heard that he's had for years didn't sound as good as this." So,
oh no,
really
it's really much better in every respect. You know, the artwork is better. I could just see why they weren't satisfied with it. And the material is quality. You know, so it's really good to that the material has a chance to sound the way it should sound.
I guess I didn't point that out. Yes, they did change the logo on the cover because they had a second logo that Chris did not. None of them liked really much, and they put the OG logo back in on it. So
Right.
yeah, Abominog. We'll get some old school death metal there.
Some people get kind of when they hear like that something's been remixed or whatever. Like it's not always a bad thing. I think in this case it kind of like I said, gives this chance a record or gives this record a chance to sound the way it's supposed to sound.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All righty. JR, what you got next?
All right. Here I have my Bjork box set, which is really unusual. It's a little pink box that comes in this white sleeve, and it's got some of those little mini discs like Jeff was just showing. You can see these guys. There's, let's see, there's three of those, and then there's a regular size CD that's like greatest hits chosen by Bjork herself. And then it has this weird little book in it that's got a bunch of lyrics and like weird like art, like this is a crazy picture. I don't know if you guys can see this, but yeah, it's pretty weird.
Wow. I've never really taken the plunge with Bjork's music. I mean, I've always heard a lot of people that, I mean, if someone's a fan of Bjork, like they are a fan of Bjork. Like she doesn't have any fair weather fans. I've never taken the plunge to really get into her music.
There's it's one of those things where there's just nobody else that does what she does.
Right.
So she's kind of her own like one person genre.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I personally love everything up through Medulla, or maybe the one after that, Vespertine. Everything up through that album is lights out, and then after that, she kind of goes even artier. And like her early stuff, like the first couple albums are very poppy and almost like accessible, even though they're very unique, and she had a couple of big hits off those albums, and then she started to get a little stranger. And like the album Medulla, for instance, is the whole album is all of the music is constructed with vocals. So she's got a bunch of like throat singers on there, and like Mike Patton's on it, and like Rozelle is on it from the Roots doing beatbox stuff. And it's just, so it's an entire album of just vocals,
right.
but vocals used in like percussive ways and ambient ways and things like that. So like super fascinating record if you just want to hear something that's like kind of definitely off the beaten path a little bit.
Jeff, are you aware of this? Mike Patton was on.
Yeah. I absolutely knew that Patton did an album with her. I just never took the initiative to listen to it.
Two things. The first time I ever heard of her was the very first time I ever watched Beavis and Butthead. They watched a music video of hers, and it was quite great. The other thing, you guys were talking about mini discs. Years ago, we had a stereo that was. I had a stereo that was from like the '80s, and when Agoraphobic Nosebleeds, Altered States had come out. I guess I wasn't collecting vinyl at the time, but I remember going to Tower Records and buying the 3-inch CD on the night it came out, and going home and putting it inside that little tray because it had a little like cutout for that.
Yeah.
For mini discs. And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't know this because it's credited of having 100 tracks, but the CD only said 99. So if you press play and then press pause and then hit rewind on the CD, it'll go back to like a intro track before the CD starts. So it's got like maybe like a 5-second little intro, and then the album starts. So that's your 100 or that's track one.
Scott loves to do stuff like that. I think he might have done that on Agorapocalypse as well.
Oh, cool.
But don't quote me on that.
Okay. I thought that was pretty neat because there's been a couple bands that have stuff like that if you fuck the facts. There was a CD and a digital version of an album, but there's like an intro track that I did for Disgorge Mexico. But when you play it on vinyl, you can hear it clear as day. This little thing, so yeah, the track listing's all fucked up because of like some hidden track that starts before the CD.
I feel like the first time that I remember encountering something like that was with Nevermind by Nirvana, where they had the what was an Endless Nameless, like at the end of the record after a long
long pause.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
And we discussed that. Like there were certain copies that did have it, and certain copies that didn't have it. And like find a distinguishable way to figure out which one had it, and which one didn't. It was just kind of luck of the draw. If you got one with it, then it was like cool, and if you didn't, like well, tough shit. I got it, and you don't.
Typo Negative used to do funny stuff like that too.
Yeah. Yep. They did.
Those pranksters.
All right, Jeff.
All right. My next segment in the front of the screen is going to be a rapid fire thing because I have quite a few promotional discs. Just going to fire through real quick. My first one is Faith No More Album of the Year. This is a promote, and I know you can't see it. It says due in stores June of 1997. So pretty cool little promotional disc for the greatest band in the world, Faith No More. Up next, I have an American and a European copy of the Dillinger Escape Plan with Mike Patton, Ironies of Dead Scene.
Mm-hmm.
Two different pressings for that. I don't know why that looks so grainy. Jeez, that looks like shit. Anyway, two of those. Third up is an advanced copy of the self-titled Phantomas album. The very first Phantomas album, which was tentatively titled Amenaza al Mundo. Up next, JR will appreciate this promo copy of Terrifier.
Yeah. Wow, I haven't seen one of those in a minute.
It's this was very, very highly sought after. Whenever I think it was like $20 or something on eBay, I believe. And whenever I posted that I got it, people were like, "Oh, I found that at Goodwill for $5." Like, good for you. I had to have it. I didn't care what it cost. And also from Pig Destroyer, an advanced copy of Head Cage. For those of you who do not collect CDs, the regular standard copy of Head Cage on CD is in a digipack. Whenever you open it up, it comes out in like what has always reminded me of a miniature vinyl. Like it looks like the sleeve of a vinyl, and whenever you pull the CD out, it's just like you're pulling out a record. But this is a promo copy of Head Cage that says release date September 7th of 2018. Definitely proud to have these two.
God, that seems like 1,000 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, really.
About time for a new Pig Destroyer.
It is. We're long overdue.
Maybe.
When are we not long overdue? Is my thing.
Right. You could do 3 a year, and I would still be like more. Couple more. I've got an advanced copy of Cephalic Carnage Anomalies promotional disc, and last up is Cattle Decapitation, Karma, Bloody Karma. Very stoked to have all of these on a promotional disc for promotional use only. And it also says down here at the bottom, Jeff, buy a new camera already. Jesus Christ, this thing looks like shit. But yeah, promo discs.
Hell yeah.
Some interesting stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, I used to work at a record store, so I wouldn't get promo discs like that. Sometimes they came in little sleeves like that, depending on the record label, I guess. But I have a promo disc. I'm going to share a couple, but not quite like that. I've got this band Animosity. They were from the Bay Area.
Oh yeah.
Black market record activities. Guy from the Red Chord gave this to me, actually. It's got the punch in there, but this was the last album they put out. It's called Animal. Oh, I do not have it. I don't know where the disc is, but nice picture of these fellas. Yeah, this was a gift from Guy Kozowik. It was one of the last times I think I saw. No, I saw the Red Chord a few more times before because they put this out, and then I don't remember who the last time I saw these guys with, but this was a very fun record. I don't know how to describe this band. If they're like a thrashy metalcore, whatever, but like
those are usually the best bands, the ones that you can't pin down.
Yeah,
that means they must have an interesting sound.
They did. They were fun as hell. I enjoyed these guys a lot. My buddy Evan Brewer played bass in this band for a while. Yeah, Black Market Activities. That's Guy Kozowik from the Red Chords label. He put out a ton of good stuff over the years, and I think I'm going to talk about a couple more stuff that he put out in here in a little bit. But yeah,
I'll have to check those guys out.
I think that also was put out through like Metal Blade as well. So Black Market and Metal Blade had like a hand in that. But I really hope that someday they'll put vinyl out for that band because they had a good sound. They had a good guitar tone. I really loved it.
I'm sure it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, JR.
All right. Next thing I got is I don't think this is available on any other format, but this is a band called Endless Dismal Moan from Japan. It's like crazy drum machine black metal.
Mm-hmm.
They have the obligatory it's a one-man band, and I guess he committed suicide several years ago.
Oh, damn.
Of course, the inside of the thing is full of razor blades, as you do. But yeah, this is a pretty crazy record. Kind of skeptical of, I was kind of skeptical of drum machines with black metal at first, but it's so crazy and vicious and weird that and it's a band. I don't remember how I stumbled upon it, but I don't really hear anybody talk about them. So cool band or cool dead dude.
Endless Dismal Moan. That's an interesting name. Cool. And
I think let me see if I can find the other one. Yeah, this is another one. The previous album, which is pretty dope.
Jeff,
I like this artwork on the inside, if you can see it.
Jeff, you ever heard this band?
No, I've never heard that band. That's pretty cool.
All right.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. It's your turn. So what you got here, buddy?
All right. Up next for me is a release that doesn't get very much attention since it's kind of flew under the radar. This is the very first release from Origin.
Hell yeah.
I'm
going to turn my light on so you guys can see better. But this is a Coming Into Existence. This was released in 1998. The first 4 tracks, or it's a 4-track EP that was self-released by the band. The thing on the back says 1998 Origin All Music. Which is kind of cool. I bought this from the band when they were on tour, and I don't know if you can see that any better now or not.
I mean, it looks like an Origin record.
Original music. even the CD itself is very, you know, plain Jane, but very, you know, this was a DIY release.
But they ended up having some really awesome album covers later on.
Oh yeah.
But like the first couple albums, it just looked like they opened up Cosmos. You know what I mean? And just like
right.
They were like, "Oh, here's a picture of Saturn. That's the cover of the album." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
very true, very true. But yeah, like Informus, the cover for Informus, God, the artwork's so sick.
yeah, they would go on to have some really cool artwork.
Agreed. But yeah, that's my next contribution, because I am proud of that one. Proud to have a copy of that. You don't see those very often anymore.
Honestly, I didn't even know that existed. I thought their first record was the one for Relapse. Was it a self-titled album? Yeah.
Their first album was self-titled, and
I didn't pay much attention to it when it came out because it just looked so. Like I said, the cover it's space, and I didn't know if it was an ambient record or what it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then I saw them live, and I was like, "Wow, this band's insane!" You know?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I had a few friends that had that CD as well, but like, it's good that it's a rare one because it wasn't like mass pressed. So.
Mm-mm.
Well, and then I remember, what was it? I don't remember which album in the series it was, but it's like Echoes of Decimation is the name of it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And like that record, they totally leveled up, and like I remember they blew my mind with that one.
I thought so too. Yeah,
that record's crazy.
I remember seeing them in Baltimore shortly after that came out. That was amazing. Yeah. All right. This next one I got is also from Black Market Activities, and this was given to me by the singer of this band a couple months before it came out. This is Psyopus' second album, Our Puzzling Encounters Considered. When you open it up, this is what the disc is. All them dressed like a little silly there. You can see the back was cut out there. This is a cool record. This recently got pressed on vinyl by Silent Pendulum Records, but for many years, this is a Black Markets and Metal Blade actually put this out. No Black Market on here. Yeah, this was a neat record. At the end, they did a red chord cover, and then there was like this part where Chris and Adam were just talking, telling stories until like the CD ended. But this is a fun one. Really neat band. If you've never heard of them, it's I guess this falls into that mathcore category that I don't really like. But
yeah, but they're cool.
Yeah, they're.
I don't normally like a lot of that stuff, but there's actually a lot of bands now that are aping that band, and you know, I think they were a little ahead of their time. You know,
sure.
Chris Harp was a very unique guitar player, and their music was put together in a weird way, and like, I don't know, a lot of people just couldn't get down with it. I was a big fan. I became friends with those guys, and I would see them. Saw their first show ever in Canada. I was up there with Misery Index, and they played a show together in Toronto. So, yeah.
I feel like if they put it back together, like people would come out and see that. You know,
yeah.
I can only imagine that they've gotten more popular in their absence.
I believe so too. I know the singer is now in a band called Sully with oh boy. Yeah, he played in Brutal Truth and some other bands. Eric, I think his name is.
Oh, fuck. What's his name? Eric Bork?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in Calabas.
Yes.
And Sulaco and
yep.
some other cool kind of noisy death grind bands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Adam's doing that. I don't know really what Chris Harp is doing. I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I don't think he's making music anymore. But
you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a necrophagist situation.
Possibly, yeah. Anywho, all right. JR, are you up?
All right. This is a record that let's see, when did it come out? 2008. I didn't get it when it came out. It's by a band from Colorado called Skeleton of God.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got this directly from the band. They self-released this. I think a couple of years ago, an Italian label pressed it on vinyl. But it's one of the most bizarre death metal records I've ever heard. Like I think I've described it to people as like the bitch's brew of death metal. If you know anything about Miles Davis, but it's got a really cool fold-out poster that's pretty gnarly. I don't know if it translates to.
Oh wow! Oh.
Yeah,
That's badass.
yeah, it's really cool. I think the vinyl has a large version of this in it, but yeah, for many years this was the only real way. Because I think I discovered them on YouTube, and you couldn't buy this record anywhere. You just had to get it from the band's website. So, but here's another piece of cool artwork inside.
Oh wow! Hell yeah!
Oh yeah!
And there's the back cover. And I think the main dude in this band, the guitar player, vocalist, he does all the artwork too, I think. So it's very much his own personal expression, But I've heard some people kind of get picky about the drum sound. Like maybe it's not the best drum sound in the world, but it's a crazy record and like some really psychedelic guitar playing going on.
Skeleton of God. Huh.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, they had a EP, I think, that came out actually in like the late 90s, maybe. And it was just like maybe a 5-song EP. And that's been repressed. But then they got back together and did that album in 2008. And then I think they just probably broke up again, after that. But
yeah. So,
not a bit, it's one of those bands they've probably played 10 live shows in their entire existence. You know what I mean? But I really think that record is something special. So,
yeah, Steve Goldberg from Cephalic Carnage is he's the reason why I've checked that band out. He told me about him a few years back, and I was like, he almost gave the same description you did. Like very just obscure and very different, and just the not quite the bitch's brew of death metal, but just something along those lines. I was like, I'm really intrigued by this, and they're different for sure. They're awesome. I
hear so many bands doing the same shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That like the bands that I usually gravitate towards are ones who are bringing something to the table that I've never encountered. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
absolutely. Yep. That's a good way to look at it.
All righty, Jeff.
All right, moving on. My next one is not obscure, or it's not unique or anything like that, but this is an OG press from 1996. This is Tool Anima. I love this CD. To have the actual original CD with the lenticular cover.
Yeah, it's got the dude sucking his dick inside of it.
Put them all in. Change it all out. There's a couple of them.
Yeah, there's a few.
I almost thought about bringing that on here tonight too, because I still have mine from back in the day.
Yep, and
I wonder if he ever got to it. You can't really tell from that angle.
Well, I kind of want to know if Maynard ever got up across the room all the way to help him out. Because he's trying, but he's like, "Boy, I got you."
No, maybe somebody rang the doorbell.
Maybe.
Maybe they ordered like subs or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They were getting a delivery. Like, hold on, we're watching this.
I heard an interview with Adam Jones once, and he said that's actually a woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a contortionist. So.
Well.
Otherwise, yeah. But
yeah, let's see if we can't see California.
Yep.
Yeah.
Disappearing.
And there's also like an eyeball in there. If you
there's a big picture of Bill Hicks too, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think that one moves.
Yeah, nothing else moves. It's just the 3 panels, but
There's an eyeball. That eyeball moves.
Oh, the eyeball does move.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll be bending that back is.
Yeah.
I really don't want to tear this thing up. I guess I've
It's
never
like-
done the eyeball. Yeah,
Dude, you haven't lived till you've done the eyeball, dude.
Doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't seem like it should bend back that way, but I guess it does. But yeah.
Isn't it kind of like perforated on the, or am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah,
Because I think it almost seemed like they wanted you to like take them apart.
Tear them apart.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was just going to say that. It always has like a pull apart tab on these.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're all perforated, but this one is in one piece, and will stay in one piece because
you're not gonna pull it apart live on the podcast for the people.
No. Sorry, guys. And spoiler alert: it will not be the last time I let you down.
Oh boy!
The disc is long gone. Of course, I don't know where the fuck the disc is, but an actual case from '96. Very proud of it.
I almost grabbed the Lateralis one too, the CD with the where it has the different layers of the body and stuff.
Yeah.
But I figured that's Tool. Everybody's already seen that shit. So.
It's Tool. We're big fans of Tool on this show.
No, I mean I love them to death, but it's weird though. I haven't seen them with. I still consider him the new bass player. Because I saw them twice back during Undertow, but then I never saw them after that. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird, cool. Like
Well, that's cool. I'm jealous. I never got to see him back then, but
yeah, the first time I saw him was at Lollapalooza, and they went on right after Rage Against the Machine was the first band.
Mm-hmm.
Like they opened the main stage, and then it was Tool. And then like later on, like Alice in Chains and Primus, and yeah, it was a sick show.
So jealous.
Yeah, really.
Did you ever get to see Alice in Chains with Lane Staley?
No. I saw.
Unfortunately,
like a year before he died, I saw Jerry Cantrell at 930 Club, and he had the guy that does the William Duvall. He was there playing backup guitar and doing Lane's vocals, but he also had Mike Borden on drums and Robert Trujillo on bass.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it was
quite a power lineup right there.
Oh my God, yes. And he made up a show because he had to cancel a few months before. I think he broke his wrist or something. So when he came back, he only did one song off his solo record, and then the rest of it was all Alice in Chains.
I really, I've always admired his songwriting. Like he's so tasteful. Mm-hmm. Like he never shows off. He never has a note out of place. Everything is always just, perfect. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that comes naturally to him or if he has to work at that. But like you can just tell, like he understands like his craft.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. My next contribution here is a OG pressing of Dying Fetus's 1996 Purification Through Violence.
Hell yeah.
There's like a different cover to this. This one, I found this at Reptilian Records. Actually, has the Reptilian sticker on it still.
Tight.
I think this is. Oh, there's another CD in here. Oh, there's two Dying Fetus CDs in here. But,
double your fun, dude.
I found my Stop at Nothing in there. Look at these young lads right here. Oh. Mr. Netherton. I always like to poke fun at young Jason. This is released on Pulverizer Records. I don't know what else they put out. Probably a bunch of like death metal like this. They were from Dixon, Illinois. Jeff, you're familiar with that. But yeah, this was a pretty cool early on release. I always thought this was their first album. I know they on Discogs, like their demos and all that were considered their first stuff, but I thought this was their first full length. Look at that.
It is their first full length. The thing on Wild Rags was a compilation of their two demo tapes.
Yeah. So, fuck yeah, Dying Fetus.
That was called. They called it Infatuation with Malevolence, I think.
Yep. There was the demo, and yeah. I remember the first time seeing them live. I bought they had everything for sale on CD up to Stop at Nothing.
But I mean that record, and then Killing on Adrenaline, and then Destroy the Opposition. I mean, that's a strike 3, you're out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Fetus fucking rules. They've always put out some great shit, and yeah, happy to have an OG pressing of that there. So, all right.
You back over to me? All right, this is one of my favorite bootlegs that I have. It's a Melvins compilation called Leech. And it's got all of their compilation songs and their Slap a Ham 7 inches and just a bunch of random stuff. It's got their awesome song from the Demon Knight soundtrack, the Tales from the Crypt movie.
Instant Larry.
Yeah, Instant Larry is a sweet song. It's got their unbelievable cover of God of Thunder by Kiss. If you've never heard that, then you're not a true Melvins fan. I'm calling you out. It's got some funny artwork on the inside with alligators hugging and octopuses and stuff. The thing that I think is the most, other than the fact that this is a lot of most of this stuff has never been on a regular CD, especially not collected like this. But I think whoever made it, they were trying to get all of the tracks to fit on the CD, so they sped everything up slightly. So all of these versions sound just like a tick faster than all of the vinyl versions, which I think is pretty weird.
I've seen that cover, but I've never listened to the tracks. So I guess I'll go ahead and say that I am not a true Melvins fan. I have never heard the Let There Be Rock cover. So I've got some records if somebody wants to buy some Melvins records, because I am out of the loop. I would love to hear that. I would absolutely love to hear that. I might have to track that down.
It's all of the early shit, like just the weird vinyl 7 inches that they did.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the Euthanasia 7 inch on it, which is that's like my favorite Melvin song. But you can find that on in some other spots.
Yeah, I believe I have that somewhere. I think.
You said Euthanasia. Is that a DI cover?
No, it was the Melvins track for AMREP used to have their collection series called Dope Guns and Fucking in the Streets. And they did 15 different volumes of it, and all of the noise rock bands from that era, contributed to it, like the Jesus Lizard, and, even bands that weren't on AMREP, you know what I mean, still would put songs on there. And that's just a rare Melvin song that I think it's from the same session as Bullhead. And sometimes when they play Bullhead live, doing the whole album, they'll play that song as well. But yeah, it was just a song on that compilation, and then I think AMREP has released it on as a 7 inch of its own a few different times over the years.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right, Jeff.
All right, up next, my next contribution may look like just a standard Cattle Decapitation Homivore CD. This was the reissued cover that this album was first released in 2000. This version was released in 2006, and to the naked eye, it is just a standard, nothing special about it. In 2021, I was hit up by a member of the band asking if I had an original unopened copy of this CD because they were wanting to remaster and reissue Homivore, and they didn't want MP3s. They didn't want anything that had been played over and over in somebody's car. They've been driving down the road and had skips on everything. Up until the night that I got the call to see if I had an original copy of this CD was sealed, never been opened since the day I got it. Never opened this CD. This CD is the reason why there are Homivore reissues from 2021 floating around in everybody's vinyl collection right now.
Damn.
This disc was put into my tower at the time, uploaded into a folder, sent over to Dave Otero, and remastered and pressed onto vinyl and all of that. This particular CD right here is the reason why there is a reissue of this album.
What label was that on?
The 31G.
Ah.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to have some other stuff that label put out.
Throughout the years, I've had several things that 31G has put out. Justin Pearson, the first couple of Cattle Decapitation albums were on 31G. And yeah, but this one that's the reason why.
He's in that band with Mike Patton now, right?
Dead Cross.
Yeah.
Yes.
That should be put in a museum.
It definitely, that and the Honda Civic really gets the chicks flocking. So.
All right. So this next one I got, this is an OG CD by a band that a lot of people now know as Lamb of God. This is Burn the Priest. They put this out. What year did this one come out?
99.
Yes. Recorded in 98. Copyright 99.
Yeah, we played with them in Philly in 97.
Oh, awesome.
I think before yeah, that was the first Page 99 show too. They opened that show.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, they were awesome back then.
Yeah, this record is incredible. I remember the first few times seeing Lamb of God, they would play a couple songs off of this, but Bloodletting mostly. But I love this song. Jeff and I, we Jeff would what was yours? Suffering Bastard.
Suffering Bastard.
And mine's Resurrection 9. But these are all like, these are our handles on the Lamb of God message board when we met each other. That artwork is just something else, man. Let me pull this shit out. I hate that.
I still kind of wish they had kept that name.
Me too.
Yes, but they probably wouldn't have gotten the opportunities that they are getting right now with a name like that. I know bands like Dying Fetus, certainly they can't play like the House of Blues in Orlando and Disney. Like,
but why does Dying Fetus want to play the House of Blues at Disney World?
Nice sounding. They were on a
tour.
That
sounds like the lamest thing that you could do.
They were on a tour, and that stop was there, and they were like, we can't let you play here. I think who else? They had a deal with Converse, and Converse said, we're not going to back a band called Dying Fetus. Sorry, just like we'll lose so much sponsorship ourselves. So that name, I mean, the biggest thing that they so Lamb of God changed their name, and they were on Conan O'Brien. Dying Fetus kept their name, and they were on South Park.
Who's the real winner there?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
see, the ironic part is that Dying Fetus is going to take over the world, and Converse is going to come crawling back to Dying Fetus. Is what's going to happen.
They're going to say, we're sorry for sponsoring Kanye West, but not Dying Fetus.
Right.
Something like that for sure.
How many of you guys got left?
So there's
2
more. All right. Let's see which ones I'm going to do here. All right. So this next one, this is a 5-disc box set of the Poes. This is the most amazing box set that's ever been made by any band. Usually box sets are very underwhelming, like especially if you're a big fan, you usually get like 4 discs of a bunch of shit you already have 100 times. And if you're lucky, you get a couple bonus tracks or something. But this is basically like 5 discs of unreleased material. And like the fact that they had this many cool things in their vaults is like, it just blows my mind. You know, it's over 100 songs. So, you know,
Wow.
If you like the Poes, then this is essential. But it took me a long time to buy this because it's expensive and it's kind of hard to find. But it was well worth the money if you're a Poes fan.
I've heard of them. I don't think I've ever listened to the Poes.
Yeah.
You know, depending on, there's certain bands that like, you know, depending on what day you ask me, would be my favorite band, you know, and some days I would definitely pick the Poes.
Huh. One thing I learned about you whenever we were driving from St. Louis to Chicago, you put on the Afghan Wigs. I'd heard of them, never heard them, but I was like, J.R. Hayes is a fan of the Afghan Wigs. I need to investigate. And I've dabbled here and there since that show, 11 years ago now, I guess. And yeah, they're good.
Oh, it's fantastic band.
Yeah, they're just somebody that I would not expect the vocalist for Pig Destroyer to listen to, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I listened to them like when I was in high school, like before Pig Destroyer was a thing, you know.
Sure.
That was one of the best things about the 90s is there were so many different things happening and there were too many things happening for it all to become popular. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, in the wake of Nirvana, you know, the Afghan Wigs were one of those bands. They were the first non-Washington State band to be on Sub Pop. And their first record is kind of Dinosaur Junior-y, and it's really good. It's a great record, but it's kind of just an indie rock record. And then they started to incorporate all of this like 60s and 70s like soul and funk into their rock music, and they kind of ended up with this sort of cocktail that I've never heard another band duplicate. You know, it's a sound that's like very much their sound. You know.
Oh yeah.
I remember they played in HF Festival years ago. Seeing that name being like, yo, that's hilarious. What a name.
Yeah, I think that was another thing that kind of, you know, we were talking about names earlier. I think they kind of got hamstrung by their name a little bit. You know, I think it doesn't really tell you anything about how they sound. It's just a weird name.
Right.
But yeah, you know, it's weird sometimes, like the things that catch on and then the things that don't. You know.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeff.
So up next for me is a release by a band out of St. Louis that never really got a whole lot of attention. This is from the Lioness Daughter. This is their EP collection that was released in, I believe, 2012, 2013. It was before they got signed to Season of Mist, and it was a collection of their EPs at the time. It's got several original Lioness Daughter tracks, as well as Everyone I Went to High School With Is Dead, a studio version of the Mr. Bungle cover. Several tracks that made it on to their first album, the Existence is Horror. It's got the Horror of Existence. I believe that's it that came off of that album. But they also covered Nirvana's Negative Creep, which is a fun cover. Apathy Worm, Dead Earth. I ate the dead and swallowed the virus. So this is such a good release from the Lioness Daughter, and I believe this was like extremely limited. They probably only did like 100 copies or so of this CD.
Wow.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of people have this, and I'm definitely very fortunate to have.
Wait until they get ready to remaster it and put it on vinyl. They're going to be giving you a call.
I hope so. Maybe I'll have my name in 2 releases from the Lioness Daughter. That would be cool.
Are you familiar with a band called the Dazzling Killmen?
No.
Mm-mm. I think they're a St. Louis band, but you should check them out because they're pretty awesome.
The Dazzling, like they're still around today?
No. They're from
okay.
they were around in the 90s and maybe the early 2000s.
Gotcha.
They have a record called Face of Collapse. It's really awesome. Really dark, like fucked up noise rock record. I think it was on Skin Graft Records, maybe, which is why it's very unknown.
Hmm. The Dazzling Killmen.
Yeah. Check it out.
Okay. Cool.
Real quick, you said we had 2 left because I got 5 count left on mine.
Damn.
All right, I can break it down to 2. Yeah. Okay. I think I see what happened, but we're good.
Maybe I incorporate too many of my promo discs into the same thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm thinking we would do like 10 each, but all good. All right, so I will go with probably my most treasured CD that I've had since I was in the 8th grade. This is a bootleg of Nirvana's very last concert ever. It's called Roma.
Oh, wow.
This was that show that he OD'd in Rome or wherever they were at the time. Pretty wild stuff. I know it's been bootlegged a bunch of times.
Is it a good set?
Yeah. Let's see here. Radio-friendly unit shifter, drain you, breed, serve the servants, come as you are, smells like teen spirit, sliver, dumb, in bloom, about a girl, lithium, penny royalty, school, Polly, very ape, lounge act, rape me, territorial pissings, all apologies, on a plane, scentless apprentice, heart-shaped box, and then the last track is labeled demolition, but it just sounds like they were probably breaking a bunch of shit.
Just destroying the stage.
Yeah. Fucked up photo of Kurt there.
I remember the one time that I saw them, it was the week that River Phoenix died. Because I remember that he gave a shout out to River Phoenix when they were playing, and at the end of the set, the other guys walked off the stage, and Cobain was just on stage, like he was trying to throw his guitar up in the air and destroy this disco ball that was like up above the stage, and he must have tried to do it for like 25 fucking minutes before somebody came out and like took him off the stage like he was James Brown or something. It was pretty funny, and he wrecked the drum set, and it was cool.
Man,
it's awesome.
Never got to see them either.
Dude, I mean, Dave Grohl and the drums back then, forget about it, man.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that was something to see.
All right,
man. All right.
This is the last one I got.
Okay.
This is my most prized CD. This is a very rare demo by Dead Boy and the Elephant Men. So if you're an Acid Bath fan like I am, their singer Dax Riggs, because Acid Bath broke up because their bass player got killed in a car accident. So then they had to do another record because they were still under contract to Rotten Records. So they did a record called Agents of Oblivion, and that record's really amazing too. But that was like a one-shot deal, and then that was done. So this was his next project that he did. I think I ordered this from the band out of the back of like Metal Maniacs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my favorite thing that he did. A lot of these songs ended up re-recorded on what would be his debut album, but these versions are way spookier and cooler. I've never met anyone else who has this, and up until about a year ago, now there's one person on Discogs who has this now. But yeah, this is the CD that nothing can happen to. So if my house burns down, I don't know if I could replace it.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Dax. I mean, like I know Asabath, of course, but like his solo stuff, and I never knew that was even a project. But that's
Well, yeah, he started. He's such a mercurial guy. Like even this band, like after this demo, they didn't sound anything like this. And then he kept the name, but he like teamed up with this girl drummer. So he was doing kind of like a White Stripes kind of thing with like just guitar and drums and him singing. And they did another record as Dead Boy with that lineup, and that record's also awesome. So everything he does is cool, but it's just like he never seems to stay in one place. And
sure.
And now I think he just is content to just probably play like dive bars and juke joints around Mississippi and Louisiana, and he doesn't seem to have really much of a online presence, or I don't think he's put out new music in over 10 years, but he'll always be one of my favorite singers and songwriters.
Right on. Very cool.
Cool
All
stuff.
right. So I guess I'm going to do one more. I got my last one is not very underground or anything like that, but the greatest album in the world, Faith No More, Angel Dust. This is a Japanese pressing with the obi strip. This was made in made in Japan, KY, which I'll assume is Japan, Kentucky. Japan. I know you can read. I don't even know.
Are there any Japanese bonus tracks on there?
There are none, unfortunately. It just goes up through Midnight Cowboy. It doesn't even have Easy or anything like that on it, which, it's a bummer. But just to have the obi strip and to know how, first off, Faith No More is written in Japanese, and then Angel Dust. That's kind of cool, to have that if I ever want to get Faith No More tattooed on me in Japanese print, and I know how it's written now, so it's kind of cool. And then my last copy of this is anybody remember the original master recordings?
Yeah,
that they used to do the gold CDs from the 90s. This one isn't fully gold, but the disc itself it's got a little smudge on it from whenever I first picked it up. But yeah, a gold disc of Faith No More, Angel Dust, an original master. This is I don't know if it's the second or third original master recording CD I've ever owned, but at one point I saw a copy of Nirvana's Nevermind on a gold disc, which was awesome. It sounded amazing. I played this whenever I first got it because I've got the CD unit back here where I could actually play CDs through my system at home, and it sounded incredible. It really did. It's an incredible copy to have on CD, and yeah, I just had to showcase that. Greatest band in the world, greatest album ever.
That's my favorite album by them. That's a sick album.
Yeah, it is. Love it.
They took so many chances on that album.
Mm-hmm. And Nick learned, and I guess I also learned while he was here, that they covered Car Thief in the song Midlife Crisis. They sampled it.
Huh.
Yeah, in Midlife Crisis, that do 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 do, and the breakdown in Midlife Crisis is Car Thief.
It's Beastie Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
What's the song? Is it RV where he's doing like the redneck voice through the whole song? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the song with the cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
Like
be aggressive and
so many great ideas on that record.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's so dark. Like it just, Crack Hitler. I mean, Jizzlobber, greatest song ever. I love that song. That's my favorite song.
That song's ridiculously heavy.
Mm-hmm. Stupid heavy with the organ at the end and just Oh man, beautiful.
I really like the albums. I should say I like the one after that one, and then it's kind of I don't really fuck with the last two all that much. I don't think they're bad albums, but they just don't hit me the same way as that Jim Martin era.
No, and a lot of people are on the same page. They just didn't care after Jim left, or even like the album after Jim left, the King for a Day, where you had said the album after this, where it was Trace Bruins, where Mr. Bungle was their guitarist, but.
And there's some fantastic songs on that record. It's a really good record, but like the bar was just set so high. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, all right. So I'm gonna do 3 quick ones here because I had to take one out just so I can make some time for everything. So first thing I'm going to talk about is a band that I've talked about a couple times on the show. Burnt by the Sun. This was live from the Relapse Contamination Festival in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, January 19th, 2003. I believe our guest on this show was at this show performing that night, right?
I performed that night. Actually, Relapse wanted to put out a Pig Destroyer live from the Contamination Festival, but I think Scott poo-pooed it because he didn't like the recording. But
yeah.
But I think a few bands put out, like maybe High on Fire and Bongzilla, maybe. Yeah, that was the first time I met Bongzilla. I ran into him smoking weed in the bathroom.
Mastodon put out a vinyl. They did a box set of like the first like two or three albums, and then they put that on vinyl. But this is a really cool recording. It's got a lot of good tracks on here. I guess their second or third album was out already. I really wish they put this on vinyl, but this was a very limited record. I still have mine in here. Shout out to Dave Whitty, the greatest drummer ever.
Man, how many cool records has Whitty been on?
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
That could be an entire episode in itself.
Someday. Next one I want to talk about is Sulfolic Carnage's Hall of Amonte. If you know
wow.
They're kind of like a grindy, deathy, stony band. This is like a doom metal EP. It's like 20 minutes long, one song. It's fucking incredible. This is just a repress of a jewel case, but I really wish they would put this out on vinyl someday. But this is a really cool EP. I love this artwork too. I think this is just amazing. Everything that band does, I'm a big fan of. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. This is their original the original thing they ever put out. This was like a DIY CD that they put out on the back. It's got like a little like fold out Dale Earnhardt car. They're from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, so like the redneck thing was kind of a funny deal to them. Like the CD was a revolver with a bunch of deer heads in there. Let me read these song titles: 5 Deep on Charlie, Cliff Burton Surprise, Bringing It Straight from Alabama, Bill Dance lands the big one, Daddy is Coming Up, Tony Little, Jack Daniels, and the Open Road, and Big Pun's Not Dead because I just saw him at the Krispy Kreme. When that track ends, it sounds like a vinyl is playing, like a little needle on a record turntable, and then all of a sudden it goes into the theme song for Who's the Boss. When they got signed, they obviously didn't put that out. I don't remember if I think the CD just ends or they put out there were a couple extra songs that they had recorded at the time, but this is like an OG thing that they put out, a DIY CD that Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. I'm sure there's probably a handful of people, maybe like 200-300 people that have this, and yeah, they eventually went on to do other stuff, or signed to big labels and whatnot. But so that's it for what I got to share, and yeah, I guess that'd be a good time to end since we're about on low battery here. But JR, Jeff and I both really want to thank you very much for being a guest on our show, and more importantly for creating the idea for this show, because Jeff and I have had nothing but fun doing this, and we shout you out as much as we can. We hope we don't forget you every week, but big props. big props.
No, it's awesome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, and I can't think of 2 better people to talk about music. So,
I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate that, JR. Appreciate that. And I guess it was officially announced today. We will maybe we're discussing making the trip to Chicago.
Yeah,
to see you guys.
Well, what that means is that it's not official. When the discussion's over, then it becomes official.
Then it becomes official. Whatever plans.
But I hope I hope to see you guys there.
Yeah,
For sure.
dude, that'd be an awesome
Absolutely.
show. You guys in the red cord,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Hey, you guys have a good night. All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank
you,
you,
buddy.
JR.
Have a good one. Take care.
Cheers.